Hello, my name is Grace Gibson. This is my review of literature multimedia presentation. The three books I'm going to be talking about are The Hunger Games, Divergent, and The Giver. This is some background information. First, we'll start with The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games takes place in a world destroyed by civil war. The capital broke up what was left into 12 districts, although it used to be 13, but District 13 rebelled and got themselves blown up. President Snow and the Capitol created the games to punish the districts of their rebellion and to remind them who is in charge. Each year, two tributes, a boy and a girl, from each district are chosen to go to the arena. In the arena, the tributes fight to the death while being televised to the rest of the world. Katniss Everdeen is a 16-year-old girl from District 12. She hunts in the woods outside the fence of her district, and when the day comes for the tributes to be decided, her sister is chosen, so she volunteers to take her place. The Giver takes place in a seemingly perfect community. In this community, the children are grouped by age. When they reach 12 years old, they are assigned their jobs during the ceremony of 12. Their jobs are chosen for them by the elders who have watched the children grow up. Jonas is assigned to be the receiver of memory. During his training, Jonas is shown imperfections within the community. He realizes that so much of the world was forgotten about in order to create the community. Divergent takes place in a post-war Chicago. Society is divided into 5 factions based on their virtues. At the age of 16, each person must choose a faction to live in and be loyal to for the rest of their life. There is a test each child does before choosing a faction that is supposed to tell them which faction suits them best. Tris Pryor grew up in abnegation. During the test, she realizes she is divergent. This means that she isn't just one faction. However, this is not allowed in their society, so she chooses to go into Dauntless. You may be asking, what is the common theme? So all of these books are dystopian fiction, and the main character in each of these books rebels against their society's norms and laws. So in The Hunger Games, Katniss rebels by volunteering for her sister, which proves that love is stronger than fear and hate. Additionally, while in the games, Katniss does not play by the rules. She sings to Rue and buries her in flowers when she dies. She threatens to commit suicide with poisonous berries, which goes against the Capitol's wishes, and she makes it out alive, thus proving it's possible to rebel. This action makes her the symbol of rebellion in all the other districts. Then, in The Giver, Jonas first rebels by not taking his pill and falling in love with Fiona. Then he rebels by taking the baby Gabriel out of the community. He saves Gabriel from being released. Released is what they call it in the community, but it is a simple way of saying killing or put to sleep. And he goes on a long journey to release the world's memories to the people in his community. Then, in Divergent, Tris first rebels by discovering she's a divergent during her aptitude test. The government considers all divergents dangerous to society because they go against the faction system that is put in place. The government plots to get rid of all divergents in the factions, so she starts a rebellion against the government to stop them from killing all divergents. Points of view. The Hunger Games is written in a first-person narrative. Divergent is also written from a first-person perspective. This means that the story is told from the perspective of the main character, so either Katniss or Tris. The Giver is written from a third-person limited point of view. This means that the narrator only knows the main character, so Jonas's, thoughts and feelings. Symbolism. All 3 books use symbolism. The Hunger Games uses symbolism in Katniss's Mockingjay pen. Her pen is a symbol of resistance. In Divergent, each of the factions have their own symbol representing themselves. Tris also gets a tattoo of 3 ravens. The 3 ravens symbolize her 3 family members that she left behind. In The Giver, the color red is a symbol of emotion. It's the first color Jonas sees. It's what sparks Jonas's curiosity to learn more about the world and break beyond the community. So there are some strengths and weaknesses in all of these books. So in The Hunger Games, this book is a quick read that draws in your attention quickly. There is high and intense excitement while reading the book, especially during the games. The characters' interactions are fascinating. For example, Katniss and Gale's possible romance is ripped apart by Katniss being taken into the games. Then, Peeta confesses his love for Katniss during the games, and they both have to dive into that romantic role with each other for the viewers in the Capitol. So for some weaknesses, This book has violence. The children in this book are forced to fight against each other to the death. The people in the capital enjoy watching the violence, which makes the matters worse. Some argue that the plot is too simplistic, but I would argue that the plot is designed that way because it is for a younger audience. Then with Divergent, for the strengths, this book is extremely well written. The book is full of details that the movie does not include, so you understand more of the story by reading the book. The movie does not compare at all. It touches on the idea of identity, since the characters have to choose a faction to live in, which is something that a lot of young adult readers can understand because they are looking for what friend group to go into. For some weaknesses, this book contains profanity. However, the profanity is minor and includes words such as hell or damn. However, based on my own Christian faith, I do not think that any profanity is necessary in books, especially when they are for a young adult audience. Some also argue that the characters are not described in depth enough. The worst part of this book series is not in the first book. Divergent is okay. I like it. The worst part of this book is in the last book of the series. The ending is horrible. If you have not read it, I want to say what happens. However, it's terribly disappointing after being thoroughly invested in the series and reading all of the other books. Then for The Giver, the strengths, that this book is very interesting to read. It is also written at a younger reading level, making it more enjoyable for people to read. The story is built on Jonas's curiosity about life, which is something that lots of young adults can relate to. Moreover, the forbidden romance between Jonas and Fiona is something that will intrigue lots of young adult readers as they, too, are exploring the idea of love. For some weaknesses is that this book also contains some violence. The people in this book don't all realize it's violence, but it's still hard to read. This book includes infanticide and suicide, but it's described in the book as being released. The details are not gory, but the overall message is still not appropriate for all people, and some say this ruins the book. The ending of the book also leaves the reader with a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that are not answered at the end of the book. For some age recommendations, in order to read The Hunger Games, I believe that readers should be at least 12 years old because the book contains violence, but there's no bad language or sexual content. For Divergent, I think readers should be at least 14 because it contains profanity, violence, and has some sexual content. For The Giver, I think readers should be 12 and up because it contains some violence, but again, there's no bad language or sexually explicit content. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for watching.